Have you ever given your all to someone, only to realize they never saw you the same way? Have you ever been so blinded by love that you ignored all the signs, hoping that one day your feelings would be returned? If you have, then my story might feel familiar. If you haven't, then maybe my experience will serve as a lesson. I've fallen in love 3 times too many. Each time, I gave my heart, my time, my energy, and even my money, believing that love was about sacrifice and devotion. But all I got in return was disappointment. I've been friend-zoned after endless acts of kindness, emotionally manipulated for my generosity, and reduced to nothing more than boyfriend number 4 in a woman's phone. For a long time, I believed love was worth it. But now, at 32, I see things differently. Love isn't for everyone. Some of us are just unlucky in that department. So, I've made a decision. I will never get married. Instead, I will focus on myself, build my career, and when the time comes, I will have children through a contract deal, ensuring I never have to beg for love again. But before I explain how I got to this point, let me take you back to the first heartbreak that set everything in motion. I was 20 when I met her. Let's call her Amanda. She was the kind of girl that could make a man lose himself. Beautiful, charming, and always surrounded by admirers. But for some reason, she always confided in me. I was her safe space, the one she called when she was sad, the one she texted late at night when she had problems. I mistook her attention for something deeper. I spoiled her in every way possible. I bought her gifts even when I was struggling financially. I ran errands for her, canceled my plans to be there whenever she needed me. I listened to all her problems, thinking that maybe, just maybe, one day she would see me as more than just a friend. But that day never came. One evening, I saw her with another guy, kissing him passionately. I was 28 when I met her. She was the kind of woman who could stop a man in his tracks. I saw her walking down the street, and in that moment I knew I was going to fall for her. Approaching her was one of the hardest things I had ever done. My hands were shaking, my heart was pounding, but somehow I managed to speak. She laughed, sensing my nervousness, and entertained my conversation. For 6 months I chased her. I showered her with love, gifts, surprises, everything a man could do to win a woman's heart. And finally she gave me a chance. I was the happiest man alive. I thought she was the one, until one night I picked up her phone. I wasn't looking for anything. I just wanted to check the time. But then I saw it, my name, saved as boyfriend number 4. Boyfriend number 4. I felt my body go cold. My hands trembled as I scrolled through her messages, seeing conversations with 3 other men, all calling her theirs. I confronted her, and she didn't even flinch. "You knew I had options," she said. "You should have tried harder to be number 1. Tried harder?" After everything, that was the final straw. The moment I knew love wasn't for me. After that last heartbreak, something inside me changed. I was tired of being the nice guy, the one who gave, the one who loved deeply, the one who always ended up broken. I had seen it too many times. The so-called bad boys always had the first pick, while guys like me were left with the leftovers, if we even got that. So, I decided to switch things up. If women liked bad boys, maybe it was time I became one. At first, it wasn't natural for me. I wasn't the type to play games, to manipulate emotions, to treat love like a battlefield. But as time went on, I started to notice something. It worked. I stopped chasing. I stopped overcompensating. I stopped bending over backward for women who saw me as nothing more than an option. Instead, I carried myself with confidence, acted like I didn't care too much, and suddenly, I had their attention. Women who once ignored me now wanted to be around me. The same women who once called me too nice were suddenly drawn to my new attitude. I realized that being unavailable made me more desirable. That mystery attracted them more than kindness ever did, And that was my biggest lesson. Women don't fall for the guy who treats them best. They fall for the guy who knows his worth and doesn't beg for their love. I won't lie, it was fun at first. But deep down, I knew this wasn't who I truly was. I wasn't meant to be a player, to toy with emotions, to jump from one woman to another just to prove a point. So, instead of wasting my time chasing women, I shifted my focus. I started working on myself, building my career, becoming the best version of myself, not to impress women, but for my own growth. But even as I evolved, one question still haunted me. Why do women always prefer the bad boys over the good ones? No matter how much I learned about attraction, I never understood why they overlooked the ones who would treat them right in favor of those who wouldn't. And maybe I never will. Now, at 32, I have made peace with my decision. I don't hate women. I don't blame them for my past heartbreaks. But I know myself well enough to understand that I can never go back to who I used to be. The fear of loving someone so deeply, only to be betrayed again, has left a deep scar on my heart. I no longer trust love. I no longer trust women the way I once did. But one thing hasn't changed. I still want a family, not marriage. Not a wife. But children. I want to be a father, to raise kids who will know love, protection, and security. But I will never give another woman the power to break me again. So, I've decided, when the time is right, I will have children through a contract agreement. I will ensure that they have everything they need, without the risk of losing myself in another illusion of love. Some people will call me cold. Others will say I've given up. But tell me, after everything I've been through, after all the betrayals, the lies, the heartbreaks, can you really blame me? This is my story. But what about you? Have you ever loved someone, only to realize you were just an option? Have you ever given your all, only to be left empty? Tell me in the comments. Let's talk about it. Let's share our experiences. And if you've ever felt unlucky in love, share this video. Maybe someone out there needs to hear this too. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss more stories like this. Because in the end, love isn't for everyone. Some of us just weren't meant to be lucky.